Deer Lake Diver presents Chapter 1. Where you are. Sometimes it's not about what you are. Sometimes it's more about where you are. Such is the case with the concrete swamp culvert we explored in my last video, Sonar Anomaly number 52. The important thing about that culvert was not what it was, but where it was. Let me explain. When I fly my drone, I'm concentrating on piloting it, not focusing much on the details of what's in the screen. I often don't see those details until I'm back home processing the raw footage before posting it. So let's take another look at that concrete culvert and let me show you some of those details that we missed. The concrete culvert dive at 5 times recorded speed. See the grooves worn into the concrete? Very deeply worn. Steel cable. Rusted and broken off. Chapter 2. Okay, so that culvert was obviously an anchor. A huge anchor. An anchor needed to hold something significant in place. Then it dawned on me. This is something that I've been looking for a long, long time. Follow me. Deer Lake as it was back in the 1960s. Haney's Resort, our area of interest. Let's see if I can fill in some detail from my childhood memories of this place. Okay, so let's do a little more detail of the Haney's Resort area as it was back in 1960 or so. This, I'm going to call this the shoreline. Haney's Resort, that's the lake. There was the store, was right here. Behind the store was a pump house. That's where their well was. There was a concrete retaining wall right along here. There was, on the shoreline itself, they had 3 docks. They had a dock coming out that was called the T dock because of its shape. They had a dock coming out here with slips on it. That was called the boat dock. They had a small dock out here, little fishing dock known as Bing's dock. It was an old man that lived there. His name was Bing. Alan, who owned the resort at the time, he had two free-floating docks out in the main area. He had a swim dock out here and a ski dock. Ski dock out here, swim dock down here. I'll show you some pictures. The ski dock and the swim dock were anchored, and what we've got here, I believe, is the actual anchor that Alan was using to hold that big ski dock in place. Let's go take a look. 1967, the ski dock. This is Valerie, the owner's oldest daughter, teaching my brother Mike how to ski. From left to right, my childhood friends. Valerie, my brother Mike, Mickey, Tammy, Terry, and myself. The important point here is the shoreline behind us. The store, the pump house, the concrete retaining wall, etc. Yes, this is the exact place where we found Sonar Anomaly number 52. Chapter 3. So why have I been looking for this ski dock anchor for so many years? What is the significance of this spot? Let's go back to the 1960s and have a look. 1967, the T-Dock. This is my brother Mike and I playing on the T-Dock. Beyond us in the background is the swim dock, and out of frame, about 100 yards out in front of us, is the ski dock. As my friends and I played on the T-Dock, there was always some kind of commotion going on the ski dock. Intermittently, every day, all day, we would hear some visitor from the dock yelling,
"I lost my glasses! I lost my bracelet! I lost my necklace!"
Well, the water is very deep and there was no chance to retrieve any of it. I bet it's all still there. Chapter 4. As a child, I often dreamed of diving under the ski dock to recover these lost treasures. I was a very good diver back then, but I couldn't hold my breath long enough to search that depth for very long. 50 years later, things have changed. So join me now as I do the first reconnaissance dive to test my theory of the treasures sleeping below. Thank you for joining me on this ski dock adventure. Locating this spot and diving on it has been on my bucket list for a long, long time. As the summer progresses, I'll grid this area out and give it a proper detailed search. As always, I'll bring you along. Stay tuned for those episodes. And until then, stay safe. Special thanks, Mary Turney, Voices of the Visitors. Produced by the Deer Lake Diver, 6/7/2025.